Let's humiliate the bride. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Welcome back. I thank you for being here. I welcome you, and I really appreciate you being willing to open your mind and look at things from a different perspective. Different than the status quo, different from what we've always been told, and to kind of see the facts for what they really are, not what we've been conditioned to look for or see. So today we're going to be talking about this growing trend of humiliating the bride on the wedding day. Yes. Oh, so funny. But before we get to that, let's talk about the fact that men are constantly acting like getting married is the worst thing that could possibly happen to them. That they're always warning off women, well, I don't know if I'm going to be ready to settle down anytime soon. It's almost like this reverse psychology thing where if we are told that, we are the ones who have to convince him to get married, that we will do whatever we need to do in order for that to happen. Meanwhile, we're just, lifting up their ego and lifting up how they feel about themselves. And, the most ironic part is men are so much better off when they're married. Men's level of health increases. The length of their life increases. They make more money. They report more happiness levels. However, it is the exact opposite for women. Married women are not as healthy. They do not live as long as their single counterparts. They are filled with depression and anxiety the longer they stay in a marriage. And sometimes these health benefits don't even reverse or, get better after a divorce. Women make less money over the course of a marriage than they would if they were single. But women are the ones who always have to sacrifice. Well, you have to sacrifice the career. One of the reasons being that men typically still in 2024 make more money than women for the same jobs. So, yeah, does it make sense for a woman to be the one to take care of the kids, potentially stay home and take care of the kids? Of course, from an economic standpoint, yes. And then the woman is at home doing everything else. Well, if you don't work, you should be taking care of the house. Again, that's a 24/7 job, where the male job can be 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 8 to 4, whatever. I know that sometimes they work longer hours than that, but women are never off when it comes to taking care of the home and the children. Never off. Never, ever off. So, with that said, I want to put in a little reminder to let the younger women in your lives know that it is always more beneficial for a woman to continue in her career than to step out of it for 5, 6, 7 years, however many years you want to be home with the kids. Now, if that's something that you choose to do, it's something that you want to do, obviously that is fine. But if you're doing it merely because daycare costs as much as you're making, that will change. That when you leave the workforce, you are missing out on the promotions you would receive, the raises that you would get. And if you're, in a type of field where you could just really move up the corporate ladder, you're going to stop all of that from happening. But if you put the child in daycare, even if it's at a loss, you will eventually come out ahead. So never choose to not go to daycare because you don't make enough money to cover the bill. I mean, you have to pay the bill. I mean, I think you know what I mean. When it comes down to the cost of childcare is going to be as much or more than you're making, you still have to find a way to sacrifice to be able to make that happen. It is for the woman's own best interest. It's for the children's best interest. Because if they get into a situation where they would like to leave, then they will have the financial capability to do that. Because when you come back into the workforce after being out for 5, 6, 7 years, you are starting from scratch. You're starting at the lowest wage. You're starting at the lowest position. And it's going to take you that much longer to climb back up. And this is why they say that it is so, you lose so much money over the course of your lifetime when you make decisions like these. So it's very important to remain financially stable. But yeah, I'm really sick and tired of this whole theory that men don't want to get married, that, you know, it's going to take a really special woman to rein this guy in. And, you know, it's a bunch of BS. It's ridiculous. Men benefit way more from marriage than women do. Women don't get that many benefits from marriage, especially if it's traditional role playing. If women are doing most of the domestic work, taking care of the kids, and even working mothers, a lot of that falls on to the mother anyway. Because men have been allowed to just get away with doing the bare minimum for so long that now if we ask them to do anything more than the bare minimum, we're being too hard on them. We are expecting too much. It's just, you know, women can't win. They really can't. You know, I'm going to go back to this women choosing to be single because it just irritates me so much that women have given up on the idea of trying to change men. Women have tried telling men for the last decade or so that they need to do more than the bare minimum to make it worth it for a woman to be in a relationship with a man. And they're not getting it. They refuse to do the emotional work. They refuse to put in time and effort to make life easier for the woman in their life. And so women have given up on this idea that they can change men. So now they're just saying, okay, well, I just won't date. And what is the focus on? Loneliness crisis for men in America. Oh, those women, they're just making it too hard on these guys. You know, their standards are too high. They expect too much. So, you know, once again, men are the focus. Men are always the focus. But I wanted to talk in particular about this growing trend of humiliating the bride on her wedding day. And it's really quite disturbing. You can find all kinds of videos of men humiliating the woman that they've just married or are in the process of marrying. I mean, like in the ceremony. You know, there's a video that was going around of a man who wrote vows that were so absurd and rude. And his bride standing there like laughing and covering her face. And, you know, and then people were trying to say, oh, she laughed. She thought it was funny. Okay, what else are you going to do in that situation? I mean, it's got to be the most horrible situation to be in because, women are told that their wedding day is going to be the best day of their lives up until that point. And the only thing that could even compare would be the birth of their children. So we set women up to have these huge, high expectations about the wedding day. Get to dress up in a gorgeous gown and, we pay someone to do our hair and our makeup and we invite all of our friends and family and we're planning this wedding or planning it down to every minute detail because we want it to be perfect. And then the person that we're marrying is saying something in his vows like, you'll do unless I ever get a chance to meet Margot Robbie. That's what somebody was saying in this video that I was watching. And the comments were that the woman enjoyed it. I can guarantee you that woman did not enjoy that little spiel that he did. We have all kinds of ways that men love to humiliate the bride. They do the cake in the face. That's that's an oldie, but a goodie. I don't know. You're supposed to feed each other the cake, and they end up smashing it in the face. I can tell you that if my husband had even attempted that, there would have been big trouble. But I was lucky. I don't know. I guess I was lucky that I had the type of husband that just wouldn't even think that was funny. Like, why is that funny? Physical violence. Yes. Am I reaching a bit? Yes, I am. Physical violence when you're smashing cake in someone's face. How is that funny when she spent all of this money on hair, makeup, accessories, a gown? I don't understand. How is that considered funny? But it is. People have been laughing for decades and decades over the cake smashing. I've even seen people, grooms, who push their bride's face into the cake. Push it into the cake. And I have to think that there are some sort of conversations around this type of behavior before the wedding day. I know I had said to my husband, I hope you don't plan to smash cake in my face because I'm not on board with that. I am sure that this is a conversation in a lot of pre-wedding planning. So what are they doing? Why do they think that this is something fun? To humiliate the people that you love or are supposed to love on what is billed as one of the most special days of their lives. Is this some sort of revenge that you forced me to get married, so I'm going to humiliate you? Or is it pumping men up to think that they're going to have the upper hand in the marriage and this is just the start of it? I don't know. I truly and honestly don't know. But what's even worse than the men doing this are the guests that laugh. The people that think it is funny to see a man push a woman's face into a cake. I've also seen where they were feeding each other with a fork and the man went to put it in the woman's mouth, and then as soon as she opened her mouth, he yanked the fork away and ate the piece himself. Now, why do they think that makes them look cool? Because to me, you just look like a jackass. You look rude. You look all kinds of words that I really shouldn't say. But the last thing I'll ever think is, well, that was a cool move. What a great guy she got. I know that they're not trying to make me laugh, but I'm pretty sure my husband wouldn't laugh. But there are people that will laugh. There are plenty of people who will laugh. And that's what we really need to address is, why is this being, perceived as okay in the first place, but then celebrated? There's a new trend of, they agree to jump in the pool together. And again, why you would even consider this as a bride, I don't know. I would have never jumped in a pool in my wedding gown. I loved my wedding gown. Still love it. I wouldn't have destroyed it by jumping in a pool. But they're not jumping in the pool with the woman. They're setting it up so that they are on the edge of the pool, and as soon as the woman jumps, he walks along the sidewalk. So she does it by herself. Yeah, this is a new trend. Isn't it fun? I love it. I just don't understand this need to humiliate the bride, the person that you have just vowed to love through sickness and health. Why is this something that you consider fun? Why is it more important to make guests laugh at her than to consider her feelings? So, what do? We need to change the conversation. We need to talk about the facts that men do, in fact, want to get married. And the fact that most men remarry typically within a year or so of getting divorced or even widowed goes to show how much men want to be married. Men have a great deal when they're getting married. They get a wife. I want to have a wife. I want somebody who's going to cook and clean and do the laundry and take care of the dog and take care of the kids and make all the plans for the holidays. I want a wife. And to sit back and act like you don't want one, we're seeing through it now. It's the jig is up. We're on to you. So just stop. Stop with this insanity, this nonsense that you don't want to get married. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And as you're coming to these determinations, you're realizing that women are now the ones who may not want to marry. That women are the ones who are saying, this might not be such a great deal for me. And men are just astonished that women aren't falling at their feet begging for a ring. Because men have always been held to the bare minimum, as I mentioned. And they will continue to do the bare minimum as long as they can get away with it. And they are starting to find out that they cannot get away with it. Not like they used to. And the way that we continue this trend of women realizing that they don't need a man to be happy, because that's what I was grown up believing. That was what I was taught by society and family and everybody, that you are not whole without a man. That when you get married, that is when you will be the happiest you have ever been. And frankly, the opposite happened for me personally. The first year of my marriage was the worst year of my life. And it's not because I married a horrible person. It's because I truly expected, and maybe this is just, naive, me being naive, but I really thought, because I had been told this for so long, and I waited until I was 40 to get married, so I had a lot of years to convince myself that when I woke up after the wedding, I was going to be happy. And when I wasn't, not only was I disappointed that automatic happiness didn't come, it made me question the choice to get married in the first place. And it wasn't until a few years later where I finally realized Marriage was not going to make me happy. It was never about the marriage. Am I happy that I got married? Absolutely. I love my husband. He is perfect for me. I hope and think that I am perfect for him. We are very happy together. But it wasn't marriage that was going to make me happy. It was always me that had to make me happy, no matter what that entailed. And once I figured that out, my life started to get better. And it continues to get better. And I can say now that I am the happiest, most fulfilled I have ever been in my entire life. And that is because I made the choice to do what is right for me. And I continue to do that over and over and over again. And when we can change the conversation around marriage and how women are desperate for it and men hate it, when all the stats show that men get all the benefits and women, it's kind of a little detrimental to them, then we can start moving forward in a way that is realistic, in a way that is evolved, in a way that is true to the times that we are living in. But we have to be the ones to change the conversation. We have to be the ones to normalize it. And we just do that by talking about it with other people, by saying when somebody's like, well, you know how those bachelors are. And I'll be like, I don't know what they're waiting for. They know that life is much better with a wife. I don't know why they're pretending like they don't want one. I want one. This is how we change the conversation. And we also have to stop laughing at these poor women being humiliated on their wedding day. It's atrocious. It's awful. And I don't think it's funny. And I like to think that some people are laughing out of nervous laughter. You know, oh no, what's this going to do? Is this going to be a big fight or whatever? You know, there are women who have left their husbands over these actions. And then women are shamed. Oh, really? Seriously? She's leaving you over putting her face in the cake? She's leaving you after not even being married a day. As if that's, a bad reflection on the woman. As exactly how it's looked at. That's a bad reflection on the woman to leave over something so minute. It is not minute. It is a big deal. Not only is it all of the things that I discussed, messing up the hair, the makeup, potentially the gown, the accessories, it is just downright disrespectful. And there's no reason for it. And if that's how they're going to treat you in front of 100 to 250 people, how do you think he's going to treat you at home? That's what I would think. So I hope that you can find the words to start changing the conversation. I hope that you can find the courage to maybe speak up when you see something like this happening at a wedding. I personally haven't seen something like this in a very long time. But I got married about 12 and a half years ago. And when we were doing the cake portion, you know what? Just put the cake out of it. Nobody needs to feed each other cake. It's stupid. You don't feed each other dinner. What's the difference? It's just this stupid tradition that men feel obligated to continue and women constantly have to talk the men out of. Let's get rid of it. Nobody needs to feed each other cake. That's the easy solution to all of this. But if you do see something like, I was going to say that. I lost my train of thought. Shocking. When I was married, and anybody who knows me knows that I would never be okay with somebody smashing cake in my face. But I still heard groans after it was done nicely. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. Really? You know me the way that you do, and you thought it would be funny for my husband of a few hours to smash cake in my face? You thought that I thought that? I would think that's funny? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So we need to start speaking up when we see this. And I know that takes a lot of courage, but nobody's going to come after you. Nobody's going to hurt you. All you need to do is stand up and say, yo, that is so not cool. That is so not cool. That's all you got to do. And this is how we change the conversation. So I hope you will try it with me. And, let's get back to reality. Let's start looking at things as they really are instead of the rose-colored patriarchal glasses that we've been given. It's a lot, right? So if you think that you have been held down a lot in your life from all of this patriarchal conditioning that we've received our entire lives, and we all have, and it's detrimental to men and to women, more to women, but it's not a great deal for men either. Men have these expectations, and if they don't hold up to these expectations, they're considered less than a man. And it's just outdated at this point. But I want to help you find how it's held you back. I want to help you discover the person that's been living inside you for all of these years, screaming, waiting to come out. But you've held her in because you've been worried about how you look to other people, about all of the things that you were taught that you need to be respectful and, get along, keep the peace, don't raise your voice. All of these things that we've been taught that are holding us back. And I want to help you discover that girl that's just been dying to come out and claim the life that you have always been meant to live and the decisions that will bring you toward that. If you're interested in that, I call it empowerment coaching. It is all on my website at hopefulist.com. Just scroll down and you will see the coaching options. There are a couple of different options. These are weekly sessions. It does not allow me to put it in that way on the website. So just know that they are weekly sessions. And I want to help. I want you to be the happy, fulfilled, purpose-driven woman that I am. Because I got to tell you, it feels good. It feels really good. So, go on out there this week and be badass. You know I'm always cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.